Hi everyone, I'd like to welcome you to Famous Studios. Set up in 1946, Famous Studios has grown into a timeless icon. It was and continues to be the canvas on which countless beautiful dreams come to life. To translate ideas into celluloid brilliance, our extensive pre-production and production services include shooting floors, ready-to-shoot sets, line production, motion capture, and other specialized services such as high-speed visual engineering. The magic that happens to create mind-blowing visuals is a mix of technology and expert artists. Our Dolby and Netflix certified post-production studio offers state-of-the-art edit, finish, grade, visual effects, and Dolby Atmos sound services. Taking ahead the legacy of Famous Studios, we launched Famous Working Company, a co-working space where people can interact, create, and grow. True to our leadership position, we have brought an international media incubator program to India in collaboration with the Landing Media City, UK. We are collaborating with international bigwigs to empower the future of storytelling.
Thank you, Mr. Anant, for joining us on this interview. This is a special interview series called Interview with Inspiration, conducted by Veda College.
Thank you, Rushal, and I'm honored to be part of this interview. And I'm looking forward to sharing my experiences with you guys.
Yeah, that will be great. So before we begin with the interview, I would just like to introduce Mr. Anant for our viewers. So he is the Managing Director of Famous Studios. And Mr. Anant is a third generation entrepreneur at Famous Studios. And he's taking forth the legacy set up by his grandfather and father. From an early age, Anant has closely witnessed content manifestations in the audio-visual industry. He has nurtured his skill sets to manage the operations, strategy, and development of Famous Studios. Anant has maintained a strong focus towards introducing innovative technologies to add new age relevance to offerings at Famous Studios. So he has spearheaded new service offerings such as slow motion video technology, which is very interesting, and motion capture, virtual production, and co-working spaces, among many others. He is dedicatedly working towards expanding their creative visual effects and content production facilities. Mr. Anant believes that the industry has a huge creative potential, which of course we also do. His long-term vision is to re-energize Famous Studios into a creative and production hub, opening doors to, for creative enthusiasts and learners from across the globe. Anant has completed his master's in entrepreneurship from Aston University in UK and is an active member of the Ascent Foundation, Mumbai. So thank you so much for joining us, Anant, and welcome to this interview.
Thank you, and a big hello to everyone who's part of this call.
Great. So Anant, why don't you tell us from the beginning? So how did it all begin? So like you are a third generation entrepreneur, so you must have been, into this business right from your school or college days. So how has your professional journey been?
Yeah, no, definitely. So actually, it's not as straightforward as someone might think from the outset. I graduated in 2008, and for the first year, I did not join the family business till 2009. Between 2008 and 9, I actually worked under Mr. Sanjay Reddy, who is basically the owner of Mumbai International Airport. So GVK Mial, basically. And at that time, it was just 2 years into when the major airports, Bombay and Delhi, were privatized. And I have this innate passion for airplanes and aviation. It's just been with me since I was a kid. So I wanted to experience, how it is to work at an airport, and at the same time, sort of have my passion of watching planes take off and land every day. And that's how I landed a role. I was basically handling their non-aeronautical commercial department, which basically means advertising revenue. So, when you're at the airport, you walk around, you see many advertisements, you see many hoardings, and also money that was coming in from food and beverage outlets within the airport and retail also. So that was my main focus. I was there for a year. I felt I'd experienced enough from the corporate side of the world, and I really enjoyed my time there. And 2009, I joined, I would like to say, my grandfather's and my father's business, because they were the ones who really, built it over the 75-year period. And I was very grateful that I had the opportunity to even enter and, start making a difference from day one. However, as I mentioned, however hunky-dory it looks from the outside, it wasn't. We were going through a sort of a financial crisis at that time in terms of the business. A lot of our business had moved to our competition. Even though Famous still holds a very, very strong brand reputation in India, that did not take away the fact that our competitors took the business from us. So it became extremely difficult at the time, and we were in this whole geographical battle, because in Bombay, what happens? You have clients that have their offices in different parts of the city. So our studio has been in South Bombay. So we were in the process of investing money and setting up multiple locations across Bombay, moving our teams there, our infrastructure, our IT, technology, all the different services that we offer to various locations. And I would say the biggest challenge for me in that initial phase when I was working with my father was that I had absolutely zero idea about my business from a technical standpoint, right? So this is something now, we're sitting in 2020 now. This is almost 11 years after I started working at Famous. It's extremely important for an entrepreneur or anyone who decides to enter the media industry, where you are processing content, whether it is post-production, it's sound, or it's animation, visual effects. A strong technical understanding of the process and the workflows is extremely important. Otherwise, you have too many people out there that will take you for a ride, and they will take advantage of you. And this is pure experience. Either you will have self-proclaimed technologists who will come and tell you, okay, we'll take so much salary, but we'll turn the fortune of your company around. It's not as straightforward as that. If that was the case, these people would have been running their own businesses and making millions of dollars. So obviously, when your family members, your parents, your grandparents warn you of these things, you refuse to believe it, because that's how it is in a family business. But as you move forward, you get the opportunity, you burn your hands, and that's how you learn. So for me, it's been a process, which I think is very important for any aspiring entrepreneur to understand, that success is not achieved within 24 hours or by a on and off switch. It's a process, and you have to really work hard towards your goal. And without a passion and a vision, you're going to get nowhere in life. And somewhere I feel, so 2009 to 2014 were very uncomfortable years for me, because I was not able to get a foothold, a personal foothold in the industry. I was sort of running all over the place like a headless chicken, literally, and had no idea what was going on. I did not know how to really drive the business and what new services to launch. I even spent time in the United States for 2 or 3 summers trying to, look at potential partners to sign up, have a relationship with them where we could sort of get visual effects work pulled in from the US to India to do rotoscopy, compositing, all these other things that are required in the process of VFX, thinking that it would give me some sort of a strong foothold in the US. But unfortunately, those 5 years, I would really look back and say, although I feel I wasted those 5 years, but it was a huge learning curve for me. Not much happened in those 5 years, very honestly, being very, very honest, nothing really happened in those 5 years. 2014, I had the opportunity to actually move into a different business altogether. So 2014 to 18, me and a cousin brother, we set up a business in sports tourism, completely different from the film business. I have a passion for sports as well. I myself play a lot of football, cricket, and I've watched sport all my life. Even when I was in university, I used to watch football games in England, and it's something that I felt would be a good opportunity. So the whole business model was to partner with the likes of ICC, FIFA, IPL, the Olympics, become official travel partners for them, where we would get access to official match tickets. And then we would club it with hotel accommodation, meet and greet with players. And then we send fans on a 1 week or a 2 week trip to go watch the Cricket World Cup in Australia, or go to Brazil for the Olympics to support Team India. So I was in that business for 4 years, and that I feel was the breakthrough for me when it came to learning and actually understanding the essence of entrepreneurship. Because end of the day, I was investing my own money, and there were many cases where we thought that, okay, we've made a lot of money from sales, but when we came back, that money is completely wiped out. There's nothing in the bank, because we've had to reinvest that money to secure a license for the next tournament. So it was always a case of dealing with cash flows, dealing with a different set of people in the travel industry. Also, me and my brother, none of our team members had any experience in the travel business per se. How to strike deals with the hotels, how to strike deals with local tour operators. It was all very alien for us. But again, what took us through was our passion. And we ourselves put ourselves in the shoes of a fan. So today, if I was paying X thousands of rupees for a package, this is what I would be expecting in return, So we put ourselves in the shoes of the fan, and that's how we created experiences for them. And I'm happy to say 2018, I exited that business. And no, I left with a lot of confidence, a lot of pride. And I rejoined the studio business in 2018 because my father wanted me back. I don't have any siblings. So he said that, look, if you want to continue this business, it's the right time to come back now. So 2018, when I came on, I obviously came with a lot of zeal, a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of learning from the previous experience. And 2018 onwards, things really picked up for us. So ranging from introducing new services like motion capture. So motion capture is a technology that is used to shoot films like Hercules, also make AAA rated games. So we partnered with a company based out of London, out of England, and they shifted their technology to Centroid, correct, yes, with Centroid. And they moved their technology to Famous. And since then, we have managed to deliver a few projects for different clients. One including a project we did with PV Sindhu for Panasonic batteries as a TV commercial. So we launched that. We also launched a new co-working space business within our studio. So we had a lot of free space available, and we invested a considerable amount of money and converted that entire space into a 150-seater co-working space. Okay. So the idea of doing that was, since the offices would be within the studio, it would attract a lot of creative professionals to come in, utilize the space as their office, but at the same time, use all this additional infrastructure and technology that we already had. So it would become a one-stop shop solution for them to create and publish content. But that was the idea behind launching the co-working space. So we named it Famous Working Company. Unfortunately, because of COVID, people are not coming to work. So we're pretty much empty, but hopefully in the next few months, we should see traction building again. So we did that. And then from the digital visual effects businesses, we basically secured a partnership with Netflix. So we are now a Netflix certified post-production studio. It's not very easy to get that stamp, because a lot of important technology is required. The workflows have to be absolutely correct. Your team has to be very, very focused on how to deliver projects to Netflix, because they have a very, very strict policy on deliverables, on quality, level of sound, type of animation, color grading, the multiple variables that makes it very, very complicated to deliver a project to them. But we managed and we've mastered, and we have delivered a few projects for the generic OTT space in the last few months or so. So we managed to do that. We also drove a complete change of technology, and we are now one of India's very few fully Dolby certified studios. So from Dolby Vision in color grading all the way to Dolby Atmos, we also do near field mixing for OTT platforms. So today, when I look at Famous, we are offering much more to the industry than most other studios. All the technology is up to date. And we're now taking the next step, which is going to be virtual production. And Unreal Engine, which is very, very well recognized global company that focuses in all up-to-date 3D rendering. They will be launching their India lab at famous studios after the lockdown is lifted. So that's a huge, huge victory for us. Taking into consideration, they'll be next door, they'll be right in our offices, and we will leverage their support to build our capabilities in the virtual production space in the future.
Great.
So when we look at the entire angle, somewhere a lot of risks were taken. Okay. But now when I look back, I feel that we are ready, and we have more than anybody else to offer when it comes to the entire gamut of media companies. So whether it is broadcast, whether it's film, whether it is OTT, whether it is advertising, we are covering almost all the markets now. And hopefully once COVID restrictions start easing out more, we will start seeing work picking up again. So this has been a story. It's an up and down, but today I feel very confident and happy. And I honestly, one main learning has been, if I wouldn't have experienced what I had in the last 9 years, I don't think I would have been in the same, in a situation I'm in right now. I would have still been how I was in 2009, completely clueless. So it's about trusting your own ability. It's about having a vision and a passion. It's about also looking at how you can do for your team members and for people around you, rather than just looking at your own personal benefit. And I think somewhere that empathy is something that our family has displayed over the years. And that's one of the reasons why we are still in business 75 years after we launched. There are not too many studios that can stand up and say, look, we've been around for over 7 decades. So that's been the story so far from the business and entrepreneurship perspective.
Yes, so indeed, it's a very, very interesting and exciting journey that you have been through. So actually, you have built yourself up from scratch. So that is very encouraging. Because we also have students who would like to, have their own studios. But usually what happens is, after initial excitement of 1 or 2 years, when the challenges start, getting the better out of you, people actually quit. And so now I think you are a good role model for, so many people. So tell me something, how has the lockdown been for you and your studio? So did you have to do any layoffs, or are you allowing work from home or salary cuts? How has it been?
So, our business is split into 2 or 3 different parts, right? We have a production side of the business where we rent out our studios to producers. They book it, they come in, they shoot, and they go, right? That part has been completely dead until today. As we speak today, the first shoot starts again after 4.5 months. Oh. So from the rentals point of view, where our property is concerned, and the actual studio side of the business, I think it's going to pick up now. But the last 4 months has been a complete write-off, simply because they were not allowing shoots in Bombay. But in the last month or so, they have allowed, with certain restrictions in terms of lesser number of staff and all the other precautions of wearing masks and sanitizers and all that government protocol. Where it comes to the other part of our business, which is our content creation and digital services businesses, I would say March and April were obviously, nobody was even bothering to get on a call and start working. Middle of May, we started work from home. Unfortunately, in our industry, when you look at any kind of artist, whether it's someone who is recording sound, okay, or someone who's color grading a commercial, or someone who's doing VFX for a project, all of the equipment that is required to render these files, they're very, very heavy duty technology. It has to be in a very, very highly temperature controlled room. It has to be cold, because rendering overheats the systems.
Exactly.
You can't have more than 30 to 35% of your staff working from home, because the main output, the main rendering, the main finishing has to happen in the studio, simply because of the demands of the technology in terms of cleanliness. Now, today, if I was to send a 2.5 or a 3 lakh rupee machine to my artist's home, they might be staying in the suburbs where they might be sharing the same apartment with 3 or 4 people. Okay, the electricity connection is not constant. They might not have air conditioning. So I risk losing my machine completely for that 1 month of work from home. Yeah. However, because we have very strong relations with vendors, because we keep buying from them, we managed to source around 20 or 25 high-end laptops that we were able to send. At least that kept some of the revenue up. You know, the ball was rolling. Um, so I wouldn't say that we were completely closed down. There was no, I mean, there's been no month since the lockdown where we've clocked zero revenue. But yes, last month, for example, we clocked around 40% of our target for our digital business, which I'm still not very happy about. But I think the month of August, we should move in excess of 50%. And, you know, we'll start looking at this time more as a restructuring time. So from the work from home perspective, as I said, 30% people have been working from home. However, now offices have opened in Bombay. You can, up to any one office, you can have a maximum of 10 people. So any of our editors or our team that have secured jobs from other producers, we are allowing them to come in with very, very strict protocols. And they come in and they finish the job, they deliver it. And we are using a lot of remote technology to show work to our clients, because even our clients are not very keen on entering the studio. They like, send us the footage on WeTransfer or give us a direct link to your screen so we can view it from home and we can ask you to make any changes over the phone instead of physically coming there. But things are picking up, and as I mentioned, Bombay has really picked up. The traffic is increased. It's been increasing gradually on a week by week basis. So I think if you ask me, October will be our first month after lockdown where we will be clocking almost 100% revenue of the target revenue for this year, the monthly target revenue for this year. So we are getting there, and somewhere I feel it's not only about me pushing my team. Our editors, our sales staff, our marketing guys, our tech guys, you know, everyone is taking a risk by getting out and coming to work. So the support that they have shown at this time, you know, we're very, very indebted to their support. And at end of the day, when you look from bird's eye view, it's always a team effort. It's not always one person doing everything. It's a team effort. And yeah, and I think because they have put in these hours and these days and crucial times, we will be ready to pounce on the overflow of work that will come in the next 2 months. So it's not been the best time, but because my team has made an effort, we've at least had the opportunity of paying at least 50% salaries. Yes, there have been a few layoffs. Again, it's part and parcel of life. It's part and parcel of going through such a serious pandemic. But at the end of the day, you know, the guys who are performing, the guys who have taken the step to really make this time count, they are being compensated as per their original contract.
What about the artists, like 3D artists or 2D artists that you might have, or pre-production artists?
Yeah. So you see, in my visual effects, and my 3D team, we have 120 team member strength. Okay. Unfortunately, a lot of the team members, their hometowns are not in Maharashtra. Some actually are coming from Haridwar, some are coming from UP, some are coming from Bihar, from Goa. So currently, out of 120, I only have a team of 40 people actively working right now. The other 80 are all in their hometowns, and because they're very young, okay, their parents are still taking decisions for them. So the parents are not allowing them to come back to Bombay, because obviously there is still that element of panic that, okay, if you get COVID, you might not survive, which is
Maharashtra is one of the worstly affected states, right?
Yeah. But if you look at Bombay, if Maharashtra is doing about 10,000 cases a day, Bombay is only doing 1,000. And a month and a half back, Bombay was more than 50% of that amount. When you go outside, there's people out in the cars and they're going to work. Nobody really cares anymore. They're like, at some point, we're going to have to go back to work. Otherwise, how will we survive? You know? So it is going to be a task, because we will have to rebuild again. Many of these people might not even come back. You know, who knows? So I would say as an entrepreneur, you should always look at these very, very tough times as a time to introspect and restructure. And that is what I've been focusing on with my team for the past 2.5 months. And I'd like to say that we have successfully been able to align our direction. We also hired a new chief operating officer who started last week. Very, very experienced guy who's worked with Sir John Hughes, who used to own Rhythm and Hughes in LA. He's worked at Prana Studios as well. So, he has a very, very solid reputation in the market. He's joined us as CEO. So he will be taking care and responsibility of a lot of different parts of our business. So restructuring is extremely important, introspecting, because whatever you might have planned between Jan and March, 80% of that is going to be different. It's going to be a new normal for the next year or so. You will have to be very, very careful what you decide to do and how you decide to do it.
Yeah. So my next question to you is, how do you see the pre-production side of the industry growing in India? By pre-production, I mean coming up with our own creative ideas and our own IPs. So which was not a very normal thing, say 20 years back, but recently we have started pulling in. So yeah. So how do you think like it will grow?
So if you ask me, I think it's a brilliant opportunity right now, simply because maybe forget 20 years back, till even 10 years back, only the big studios, the Yash Rajas of the world or the Dharmas of the world, they used to spend 50, 60, 100 crores on making a film. And it was a guaranteed success because the distributor used to buy it immediately. Mm-hmm. And it used to go straight to the cinema. And they would secure other rights, music rights, international rights, whatever. Now, because you have OTT platforms, their reach of content to different parts of the country has dramatically increased overnight. Okay. So what happens is even the actors, directors, see in filmmaking, you've got a whole layer of people, from talent to your script writer, to your director, to your DOP, to the studios that are processing the content, to the catering guy, to a spot boy. Okay. There's a vast demographic of people that are involved in making cinema or making any story, even a TV commercial for that matter. Because there are more screens available now. Before there used to be a TV and the cinema. Now you've got many TVs and many cinemas. Now you've got multiplexes, and an average person at home also now has 2 televisions. Okay, and good LCD, whatever, UHD TVs.
Plus 3 or 4 mobile.
Now, exactly, mobile phones, iPad, laptop. Now you've got Amazon Fire Stick. You can, connect it to your TV or to any other device. So the reach has become so high that content is also reaching the consumer at breathtaking speed, breakneck speed. So there is all of a sudden you must have realized there is a lack of content that is available. So today, if you go on Netflix or you go on Amazon, it's the same stuff, then they have to release, but they can't release as fast as how people want to consume, Exactly. So there is always there's creatively, if you ask me, India, the amount of inspiring stories that India has, no other country in the world has. If you look at our culture, our heritage, the heroics of various people in our history, from the invasions, the Mughal, the Aryans, all the way till now, each element of their existence, you can create a story and a movie on it, right? I'm sure the viewers and all of you must have also realized in the last few years, there have been a lot of movies that have been inspired by true events, whether it's Uri, whether it's Bhag, Milka Bhag. I'm just giving you 1 or 2 names. Dangal, for example. So people want to watch those movies. They want to witness that content because end of the day, it has a very inspiring finish to it. That, okay, 2 girls who are from a very small town managed to win gold in the Commonwealth Olympics, for example. Or same with Milkha Singh. He won that race running barefoot, So these things are very inspiring. And unfortunately, the media in our country, in terms of the news channels and the newspapers, they are covering a lot of negative news, and negative news is what really circulates amongst social media. So there is a lot of people who are generally having a negative mindset. So they're looking to watch content like this, So for our talent, for the next generation of artists that will graduate from universities like yours, writers, I think it's very important to develop the skill of storytelling. Today, a story can be very inspiring, but if you don't write it well and if you don't produce it well, the impact completely goes, right?
Of course.
So people say that a movie is made at the editing table. It's a very classic analogy that is made. A movie is made on an editing table. So that just it shows the level of attention to detail that goes into producing content. And now there is also a lot of demand for short films. So 10-minute, 15-minute, 20-minute films. If you have the capacity and the capability to explain your story in that 20 minutes, then eventually you will be victorious. So content consumption is only going to go up because of devices, because of the reach of internet, because of the amount of fiber cables that are being laid across the country to the smallest towns. It's a matter of time before the content bubble explodes. So for me, I don't even think you need to go outside your country to look for opportunities. You need to be very focused on what you want to do and search for inspiring stories within your country. Go to the small towns. You'll get many inspiring stories everywhere. Now, how you put that into context, how you produce it, then it's a team game. You have to find the right people. And trust me, there are plenty of very, very good people around in the country that will help you put these things together. So yeah, that's my viewpoint. I'm very, very bullish on the Indian content landscape and the opportunities for everybody for the next 10 years at least.
Yeah, great. So do you have any final message for our students? See, why this interview is being done even? The reason is that we want to bridge the gap between the academics and the industry, and a person from the industry have all the experience from market. What would you suggest?
Yes. So, my sort of 2 or 3 takeaways is in our industry is very complex. Okay. When you enter the industry for the first time and you're going to start looking for a job, it's very important first for each and every student studying media. What is the business of media? Okay. It's very important to understand what the existing trends in the media industry are. Third, very, very important to have a technical understanding of how a film is made. Because what I've realized is I've had many, we give a lot of internships out to students, by the way. So Amity University, ISDI in Bombay, we've given internships to multiple kids. I've mentored students a couple of months back also for a comic book project that they were doing, for example. I feel if you are studying direction, or you are studying how to become a 3D animator, or you are studying cinematography, there are many other parts of the filmmaking process that you should not ignore. You should learn that also. Because if you don't understand editing, cinematography is a waste. Of course. If you don't understand cinematography, editing is a waste. It's everything is a part of that value chain. It's extremely important to understand each and every nitty-gritty of filmmaking. So keep your mind open when you are going outside for looking for a job, or you're setting up your own business. Never ever stop your learning process. What will happen is today you might want to be a director. You might approach a production house and say, "Oh, sir, I want to be a director." The production house might be like, "What have you directed that you would want to be a director, and what's your experience?" That person, the production house, will actually put you in a job which you might not be comfortable with. But take that as your first step to learn, because unless you don't go through the grind of learning, you will never be able to direct. It's like it's like saying that I've trained to be a pilot, and you've flown a small propeller plane. You've got your license, and you go to Emirates and you tell them, "I want to fly your A380." So Emirates is going to be like, "Boss, you cannot fly my A380. Fly the 737 first, train on that, make your way up, and when you secure the number of hours and you actually learn how to land a plane in an emergency situation, then I will give you my Airbus A380. Similarly, when you are going up the ladder in business, experience counts, right? You cannot be an entrepreneur overnight. You have to have a vision. You have to have a dream that, okay, after 5 years or 10 years, I want to be this, but I'm willing to sacrifice and do what it takes to reach that. Okay. And it's extremely important now also to identify a mentor, somebody who you can confide in, somebody who you can share your, it could be anything, it could be frustrations, irritations, or whatever that you might be experiencing on a day-to-day basis. Because the mentor will understand you and he will guide you in a very particular manner, how you should respond to that and how you should take those disadvantages or the problems you're facing, convert it into an advantage and into something that you can learn from. So these are 3 or 4 things that I would like to share. And obviously, if anybody has any specific questions, I'm more than happy to, answer those also. But entrepreneurship is a very, very long road. And what I will do with you, Rushal, I'll send you a couple of links that I share with whoever I interact with. It's like 8 to 10 minute videos on motivation and what is important and what you need to do on a daily basis to be consistent. Now, entrepreneurship is also consistency. It's not just about having a dream. You need to go at it on a day-to-day basis very consistently, then eventually you will reach your target. So there are 4 or 5 things that make it up. There is also a very, very interesting book that you all must read. It's from our industry. If you all know the ex-CEO of Disney, Mr. Iger, I will just log on right now and tell you what the book's name is. Just give me a second, guys. So Bob Iger, he launched a new book in 2019 called Ride of a Lifetime.
Okay.
15 years CEO of Walt Disney. And you can actually, from the start, get an idea of how he started as a very low-level producer in ABC Sports, ABC Television in the US, and how he built trust and pushed his way to be successful. And he got things done. Even in entrepreneurship, the other one learning is that you might be given a task, okay? Or you set yourself a target, but right in front of you, you see major hurdles, okay? Entrepreneurship is also how you overcome those hurdles and get the task done without any excuses. So somebody tells you, कि today you need to do this, you'll call your boss and say, अरे sir, मेरा पेट खराब है, मेरे को viral हो गया, मुझे ये हो गया, मैं काम पे नहीं आ सकता हूँ. End of the day, the boss will tell you, okay, fine, take rest, take your 2-3 days. But the work that needs to be done still needs to be done. That is a deadline, right? That deadline is not going to change or extend because you've got a viral fever. Exactly. So how do you get jobs done in the face of adversity is a very, very important trait to develop. And that is basically it's a combination of discipline and consistency.
Of course.
If you have that innate nature, you will get it done. If you don't have that innate nature, it will not happen. So do read this book. I will share it with you guys. You can order it on Amazon. Yeah, and I'll share some links. It'll just keep you motivated in current difficult times.
Great. So thank you so much, Mr. Anant, for joining us. And it was fabulous talking to you.